to you real quick.
We'll go with it.
Rolling yet?
Okay, I'm ready. You guys ready?
Let's go.
All right, we already got the marker and everything? Okay, good.
Let's go. Are you the buyer?
Dude, I'm on your section.
Let's go. Let's roll. Come on.
I brought that up to you
Hey,
before.
I need a bite of the apple. Let's roll. I'm ready.
I have had X.
See?
I have had X.
Ault-onomous.
Autonomous.
Autonomous.
The name
It's
of the
almost
company-
autonomous.
The name of the company's Alton Company. I named it after my father. I was adopted when I was 13 years old. My mom never married my real father. My mom was 18 when she was 17 when she got pregnant, had me at 18.
Had you at 18? Damn. Yeah, 18's actually, decent. I've heard of people where they were pregnant and had a baby at like 14.
Oh, God.
Like, dude, now that's young.
Right.
18? That's early.
What's your favorite podcast you did? Because I kind of thought the Ed Milet one with you was pretty cool.
Well,
I really like that one.
I think Ed is like, I think the world of Ed, of course. So that was one of my favorites, just because
Yeah.
it was Ed. Oh, Eddie Milet.
Because everybody likes to talk to you about sales and closing and this and that. I'm like, the dude started a business in the cloud from scratch. Why isn't anyone asking how you did that?
With no money.
Yeah, that's what I care about.
You know what I did?
What'd you do?
I focused on 4 key areas:
What are those?
sales, customer service, compliance, and personal and team development. Now, I didn't always do that, but those are the 4 key areas to grow and scale a business.
So I do have a little bit of a following, and we get viewer questions, and so I got a bunch of viewer questions that I would never ask you.
For me?
Yeah, for
For
you.
me?
For you.
Yeah, I like
a
that.
bunch of viewer questions I would never ask you, but we're going to ask them in a minute.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about how you started LightSpeed VTR. And so I'm a guy who started a bunch of businesses myself, had some exits, had lots of failures. But I'm fascinated by, you decide at one point you're going to make LightSpeed VT, and you have nothing at that point. You do not have any software, right? You do.
I'm behind nothing.
Right.
I have debt. I have bill collectors.
Right.
Ring my phone, scare my wife when I'm not home.
Right.
I got a bum education, double-digit inflation. Can't take a train to the job. There's a strike at the station. All that.
Sorry.
All that.
That's great.
All that. Yeah.
So you got to have some software guy who's like your guy.
No. I found a software guy.
You found a software guy.
Yeah, there's a whole story behind that. He's still here. He's my partner, Jason. But it took me a while to find that software guy.
Right, because there's always a software guy that says they can do it and they're full of shit and they take your stuff.
Well, there were several of those.
Right.
And then again, I found a kid, believe it or not, he got paid quite a bit of money by creating this thing called Bum Fight. Remember Bum Fight?
No.
Anyway, people can Google it. It used to be a fad. Anyway, he was a pretty slick little programmer, but he couldn't quite do what I was describing. And he said, like, this is not even possible. And if anyone in the world can do it, it's a guy that works over here actually in Vegas. He does all the stuff for the casinos in Hollywood. And he's like the best of the best of the best. And I said, well, what's his name? And that's when he said, Jason Straub. And I said, well, where do I find him? And he said, you go over here to this little company called StyleWise. And so I went and found StyleWise, and it was like this really modern digital agency, even way back then. And old Jason was the partner in the deal. He had some partner that they weren't getting along, let's just say. But Jason, true to what this guy said, his team had a lot of talent. So I described it to him. He didn't think it would really work either. So I just said, well, how about I give you a piece and you just roll up shop and come with me. So ultimately I closed Jason on taking his whole dev team and coming with me. And that's when we formed LightSpeed was formed, but that's when I gave him a piece and we started being a partnership instead of a vendor relationship. Like I was going to pay him to build it, but I didn't have any money.
Who was the first person on the platform, or can you not talk about that?
I don't even remember, but it's
The first major customer?
No one you've ever heard of. I would say major customer back then, because we started in the car business, was Joe Verdi. Major customer, because again,
Joe was big, yeah.
Joe was big and still is big.
Yeah.
Okay, Grant's big, but Grant got bigger outside of the car market. Grant's no bigger than he was in the car market. In other words, Grant and Joe are both equally known in the car business.
Right.
If you know Grant, you know Grant. If you know Joe, you know Joe. It's not like nobody's ever heard of those two.
Right.
Joe was my first customer, I think.
The first major name.
Major name. But that's not true either, because I think Gold's Gym might have been. I might have closed General Motors back then. I don't remember, but you know,
So
it took 2 or 3 years to get the
It's going to sound like a commercial for you guys, but when I've been looking at the platform for a while, our chief technology officer brought it to my attention a few years ago, and we have offices in 3 different countries, and I was kind of looking and saying to Joe, is it a software where we could use it as corporate communications, where if we wanted to make sure everyone knew what we were training them on, meaning like, hey, we want the people in England, we want the people in Israel to look at the program and learn a new lesson we're teaching them, or corporate policies where they could take a test. Am I that stupid? Is it that simple that you could use it for that purpose?
100%.
Right. And
but you would want to use it for much more than that. And then also to do that effectively, most people, believe it or not, that think they have a training program really don't. They have a training nightmare, really. So to properly train someone, I believe you need 4 things: good content, repetition, practice, and accountability. So most companies, they'll give the good content, but they don't give it enough times, and they don't hold anyone accountable, and they don't test everybody and practice and make them practice over and over. They literally tell them and then send them out to battle and say, now show me how do you do it. And they're practicing on real customers, and they're losing real business, and they're pissing off real people. And what happens is, you know, they're like, well, you know, it didn't work very well. Or believe it or not, it actually does work when you train people that way.
right.
Imagine if you did it correctly, which is good content, repetition, practice, and accountability. Then you want to put those, that's the pill. You want to put those in towards sales department first. Why? Because revenue usually solves all problems. Usually. Again, not all, but usually.
Mostly.
You have to ask yourself your question as an entrepreneur. Do you have the ability to create and manufacture and duplicate a top tier, fierce ass sales team as big as you want to make it? If the answer is no, I do not. I do not have that ability. Well, you better focus on that if you want to grow and scale your business, because that's what you need. You need a badass top tier sales force, and you need to be able to duplicate and maintain them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you do that? You give them good content, repetition, practice, and accountability in the sales area. Just like, you know, you like Grant Cardone, use Grant Cardone, but use it every day. Hold it accountable, make them role play and practice on each other, not real customers, and then hold them accountable to the principles that he talked about. And I bet you $1 million you will increase your sales and closing by 20, 30%, which if you do the math, it's chump change what it costs to do that. Now, we're not even talking about the business essentials. The essentials of business is sales. Then you got customer service, because if you get a bunch of customers, you do a great job in sales and you get a bunch of customers, but you fail to deliver, well, now you just pissed them all off. Well, a pissed off customer is worse than no customer at all, meaning I'd rather have no customer than mad customers.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you better teach everybody that touches your customer or interfaces how to love your customer. And if you're not confident you've got the ability to communicate and train everybody on how to properly love your customer, then you're not ready to grow and scale. Would you agree?
I would, yeah.
And then compliance, I don't know if anybody realizes this before, and thankfully, you know, in 20 years, I've not really faced it much, but one rogue lawsuit can put a company out of business, especially nowadays. You know, you say the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, you don't announce the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like all these rules and regulations, you might come in and drop an F-bomb in a meeting because you had a bad day, and boom, you know, one lawsuit. So get your I's dotted and your T's crossed. What about safety training? Don't let someone get hurt. Don't let someone, you know, make sure you're training, your I's and your T's are crossed and dotted, and make sure that your compliance is looked at, right? Mm-hmm. And then the last one is team development, like personal and team development. Do you plan on being better a year from now? Yes. Do you plan on your team being better from now, a year from now? Yes. How do you plan on that happening? I don't know. Well, that's not a plan.
Right.
So where's your library? Where's your plan to develop yourself and your team over the next year? Well, if you don't have a system for that, then you got a bit of a challenge, because you have to do it manually. So LightSpeed, believe it or not, coincidentally, has created content for the sales department. And it not only teaches them how to sell and close, but it teaches them how to be a better human being.
Your own content.
Yeah, like mine. It's called Business Essentials. So what a company can do is swipe a card, issue training the next day, assign repetition, 7 days later, hold people accountable. And what do you start to do? You start to feed the salespeople good sales content with repetition. Their sales go up, their culture goes up, their excitement goes up. All you did was issue passwords and tell them to do it. The ones that don't do it, as soon as you press that button, the ones that don't do it, stick out like a sore thumb. And you're going to be like, I even tell you what to say the first meeting to the people that did what you told them. Yeah, at the end of the day, man, you got salespeople killing it, but you're not taking care of them, you're screwed. So you got to sell the hell out of stuff if you want to grow and scale. You want to love on your customers really well. You want to make sure all your I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and you want to make sure you have a plan to develop your personnel and yourself. So if you don't have a system for that, LightSpeed basically delivers, tracks, and measures interactive content. So LightSpeed's just a system that helps you. It's a tool. I've got their content for customer service. I've got sexual harassment due in, I think, mandated in, I think, 22 states already, and about to be all of them. That you have to tell
you license that content to people who want to resell it.
I sell it to them one time. So in other words, I put together about $500,000 worth of content, meaning it cost $500,000. It's hours and hours, like 50 hours worth of content. For $5,997, I turn it on. They own it for as long as they're a LightSpeed customer, which is only $200 a month or less for most companies, which is crazy, right? How do you train, track, measure, monitor?
In our case, we're going to use your platform for our business, and then a new program we're launching, which is this.
That's monetizing. Totally different side of business.
Right. So if we use your content to monetize, do you do a license, or do you not allow that to happen?
You mean you want to resell my content?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is called a skill shop. It's like a vending machine. You make money on me, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, Dale Carnegie, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy. And if your content's for sale, you're going to go in that skill shop too. And then everybody who's on LightSpeed, which is all those people, will now have you in their library. Why? Because they all have a library.
Okay, because my team's out there watching us, but we're developing this idea that we would take everyone's content and license it like Netflix.
Well,
make it available.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's called Skill Shop currently, but I might have to change it because I heard Google might have a trademark on that name.
Google has a program. Not Google, is it?
Google, I wouldn't mess with. You know why?
LinkedIn has a program with a bunch of, but it's thousands of too much shit.
Folks, LinkedIn, schminktin.
Yeah.
You know who owns the internet? Google.
Sure.
Google tells you to stop, you better stop. Don't piss Google off. Google's the best idea ever in the history of the world. That's why I don't understand. Everybody always gets excited about Elon Musk because he is cool and shit, right? But dude, what did he do? He invented PayPal. Big deal. Sold it for a bunch of money, and now he's out there, playing, which is what I'd do if you gave me billions.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I'm not hating on Elon, but dude, Google was a good idea.
Yeah.
Google.
But keep in mind too, they bought AdWords.
Larry Page.
They bought AdWords from another company, though.
However it evolved, dude. Google is the most brilliant idea ever in the history of the world.
Also, too, at one point, Elon got down to his last, $40 million, and he split it between both SpaceX and Tesla, and took it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he did.
It was risky.
Where he went beyond all in. I mean, he went beyond all in. Now, of course, he had the 40 million left to do it.
I know, but see, that doesn't scare me. Like, that's me. I'm the same way. Like,
someone
give me 50 million, billion, trillion. I don't really care.
Sure.
I'm going to start going, dude, how do we get to Mars? I'm going to beat Elon there. And I'll start building the coolest spacecrafts ever. Like, that's not, to me, that's not like, it's not like, just for the same reason, listen, if right now I'm driving down the road and I see a guy beating out of his wife, I would pull over and help the girl, even if I got beat up. Right? Would you?
Yeah.
Most people would. To me, that ain't a hero. That's what you should do.
Sure.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, if I had billions like Elon, I would be doing the same shit.
So
and if you don't believe me, someone give me the billions, and I'll go compete with them right now.
I want to ask, you don't obviously never have to answer anything you don't want to, but what's the size of the company by revenue now?
Where, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, a couple of quarters a month. Coming in like clockwork, nickels to pay the power bill.
30 million?
It works.
Not going to tell me.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't matter.
I mean, it might matter someday.
How many people
right now, it doesn't.
How many people on the platform?
Too many.
Wow. All right, we're gonna go there. Right?
I'm joking. Platform, probably, I don't know. I mean, users individually, it's in the millions. But customers wise, I think I only have like 1,000 customers maybe.
You have 1,000. Yeah, but You ever seen 1,000 gumballs on the floor? 1,000 gumballs? I mean,
Well, it's 1,000 and growing.
That's a lot of people.
But yeah, like like Grant Cardone. I mean, I can just keep going. Now, some of them aren't selling their content. Some of them are using it, like Gold's Gym, like 9 Rounds, like Villa Pizza, restaurant chains, Porta Subs, things like that. They're just using it to train their people.
Well, I got some of these questions are we'll digress to some of them. One of them is how'd you get started with Grant Cardone?
I ultimately was his competitor. My sales training was better, and I was better, and I competed with him. And I got tired of people saying, well, we use Grant. So I thought to myself, shit, why don't I just go get Grant on my platform? So now I have me and Grant, and if they want me, I'll sell me first, and if they don't, I'll serve them up Grant. As long as I got the sale, I didn't care. So I went and closed Grant on, you build this, give me a piece of your revenue, you go sell it to whoever you want, and I'll even tell you where some people are that already want you. Because they weren't buying mine no matter what. Why? Because they loved him. So I decided
he's not online at the time.
He is not online. He had no clue about online.
No.
Like, dude, when I got online, no one was online. You know that?
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, I literally am the first one online.
And my point is that you had to go to him and say, listen, I have an online platform, join me.
I had to close him. And for a couple times, I thought he was playing stupid to get a better deal. Like, he didn't get it. And I'm like, dude, like, you can't be you can't be serious, dude.
Right.
Like, you get what I'm saying, right? And he's like, he I was like, oh, I don't get it. But really in retrospect, he wasn't listening. Why? Because he was making a bunch of money in real estate.
Right.
It was like, if you're making $100 million a year and I come up and I'm talking about a $60,000 deal that you got to pay attention to, you might be like, you're not really listening.
Right.
So he was like that because he was already successful. He had real estate deals. He was, the market just got done, skyrocketing, and he wasn't listening. And so he wasn't closable for probably a year or two. But then after 3 or 4 years, my phone rang and he got scared because of the stock market crash or the housing market crash.
So 2008, 2009.
Yeah. So he knew he had to do something. He was out on the road a lot. He was making probably $1 million or $2 million with his trading business. So he reached out to me and said, okay, I'm ready to do the deal. And I'm like, well, cool. It's this much money. And he basically said, I'm not paying any money. And I'm like, well, dude, if I got to pay for all this, you better do exactly what I tell you to do because I'm risking the upfront. And he goes, dude, basically he said, he'll be my best hoe. He said, dude, I'll be your best hoe out there. So I'm like, dude, let's do it. So we shook hands and I built him his first Cardone on demand, and then he went into the car business and, took off from there. But it was after he got out of the car business, started growing past the car business that really it took off for him. And then of course the books and then the 10X and now the 10X Growth Con. And really now he's, brought it all the way back to real estate. Now he's basically Cardone Capital.
Well, I mean, the university obviously is something.
Not to him it isn't. Like,
no, really.
He doesn't care anymore. And dude, that's good monthly money. I guarantee that if I told you the annual revenues that he does on my system, it would blow your mind. And that's, to him, I bet you, chump change. Like, in other words, me and him argue sometimes, wrestle like, brothers. I'll bet you he would cut off the revenue sometimes just to piss me off.
I can see that. He talks about...
But he doesn't actually do it. But I think he might. In other words, real estate, brother, is way bigger now.
No, he talks about being able to afford to not have to deal with a client or something like that.
He can, for sure.
Yeah.
Grant's done a great job. Great job. Like, funny thing is, though, is like not anyone, but most people can do the same thing he did. They just have to know what he did, right? And what he did was he wasn't afraid to spend money. He wasn't afraid to blow up his brand. Most people are like, I'm not spending it. I don't have anything to sell. Well, he had something to sell.
But he's on the platform with the university, but Tony Robbins has a pretty big following himself, and he's on the platform, no? Or is he still on the platform?
Yeah, I mean, he did a course on the platform.
Just one course?
Yeah, he did one course. Matter of fact, his signature's right there, but he did one course, didn't really market it much, barely mentioned it. Thousands bought it just because it's Tony Robbins.
Right.
I think he's like the king of it all.
Right.
But he didn't really mess with it because, again, I call him like, he's already happy, dude. He's got islands and, his VT revenue is not saving his day or changing his life in any way.
I don't see why, since you guys are on multiple platforms, all these different delivery systems in different languages, I can't imagine why someone wouldn't want to embrace that annuity. I don't get it. I don't know. I'm
Well,
dumbfounded.
because people get more than enough jaded. Like if you had $1 trillion and money just was not a thing, you know, you wouldn't care anymore. You know, I'd come up about a money thing, you'd be like, nah, I don't care. So Tony is so successful at that level. Money's not a really factor to him.
Who's using it, or what's using it in something a unique way? It's not the university, not like you just talked about Porta subs. Who's using it like in the coolest way you like? Like, this is the coolest way to use it.
You know, they're starting to adopt it the way I intended it, which is, you know, employees and companies and MLMs and associations and whomever, but they're using it to interactively onboard and train employees properly.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and then other people are using it to create recurring and scalable revenue models. So either one of those I'm about. Like, again, I want to get the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it, because I think people are going out of business because they don't know how to close a deal. They don't know how to find funding. They don't know how to market. They don't know how to take care of a customer. They don't know how to freaking dot the I's and cross the T's. They're going out of business because they don't know something. Period. Like, teenage girls are getting pregnant because they don't know something, right?
Right.
Somebody didn't know something. Like, you know, why would a 14-year-old be pregnant? Well, somebody didn't know something. So what if we had a way to get the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it? Wouldn't the whole world be more successful? That's what I think anyway. So that's my goal. And when I realized I had the LightSpeed system, it's like, dude, my mission is to get people who have knowledge on the platform and people who need knowledge on the platform, which is, if you think about it, who has knowledge? Literally, think about that. Who has it?
Business owners.
Everyone.
Yeah, everyone has something.
Who needs it?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Right.
So to me, it's like everyone needs LightSpeed. Like, I want you to be born, you get your social security number and your LightSpeed password. Now, what you access, that depends on your family and your circle and your religion and what programming your password has, because LightSpeed's the only system that can literally, you can create username experiences individually.
So how long has it been you've been in business now?
Including today?
Yeah.
20 years and 19 days.
LightSpeed was started 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when I say 19 days, I'm joking. We started in 99. We incorporated in January of 2000. January, I think it says January 1, 2000. So officially in business as of January 2000. So 20 years as of January.
How long did it take from the time that, because I've started a bunch of businesses myself, and you always think it's going to happen quicker. But how long was it before you could pay yourself from LightSpeed?
Well, I mean, I paid myself from day one, just through, you know, I sold stuff to survive, but I was behind on bills, so I didn't pay myself enough, and there was never enough to go around. It started to be better, like where I got a consistent $6,000 a month check type thing. You know, 5 to 8 years in.
Wow. But you were convinced it was going to work.
And I was correct.
Right.
Just early.
Right. What do you think the future of content is? Content delivery. I don't know what kind of question that is, but I'm asking it because I told him I would.
Yeah, I think the future of content delivery is going to be on demand and interactive.
So it's like almost to some degree, you are kind of like I'm trying to think, you're like a Hulu or Netflix for business application, right?
I mean, again, if you want to say that, but no, because Hulu and Netflix doesn't even do what I do. But it's an aggregate of content because I have so many clients that are subject matter experts and have that expertise that I've amassed it in a library we call currently the skill shop. So in that regard, it's like a Netflix type thing, yeah. But Netflix doesn't track, measure, monitor, test, role play, practice, alert, notify, tattletale, you know, and track things. It's
right.
It's just you watch a movie. Now the back end of Netflix probably monitors a lot of stuff, right?
Knows all that.
But LightSpeed's really the ability to create, deliver, track, and measure interactive content. I have people using it just for marketing. It's increasing their conversion by 400%.
That was something you recently showed me on the phone. It was like
an example of an interactive video that was created by LightSpeed. So again, LightSpeed creates interactive content for you. So you don't need a million programmers and months of time. You just need LightSpeed. So basically, for a couple $100 a month, you can create interactive video that's really cool. And if you understand the value of interactivity, that's why I said it's the future. Why? Why would you send a customer to a video that can't ask questions, it can't adapt, and it can't offer, equip, or upsell you anything? So basically, you're going to drive a customer. You're going to pay all that money to get a customer and drive them to a video that just plays.
You're building a little AI in there, is what you're saying?
There is AI in there.
Nice.
It's interactivity.
And are you from a financial perspective, if I'm a Lightspeed customer, are you building billing applications, or are you making us get our own billing app? Like, is there
it's built in? There's built-in billing.
Built-in billing. A credit card acceptance too?
Sure. What you need?
Is that your platform?
No, we integrate with the best.
All right, so you're reselling others, right?
No, I don't resell. I just integrate.
Right.
Again, dude, I mean, if you got Stripe, I'll plug your Stripe in. The question is when I pop up on a video and I say, let me ask you a question. Do you want to talk about bananas or strawberries? Is that a benefit or no? Is that an advantage or no?
Right.
Because if you want to talk about strawberries, why am I talking about bananas and vice versa? So a normal video just plays. See what I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't have any choices or options. So when you send someone to a video that has no options, it just plays. That's current day. And by the way, a lot of people are doing that today, acting like they're cutting edge. I've been doing interactive video for 20 years. So guess what? That's not cutting edge video. Okay, interactive video is cutting edge. AI-infused interactivity is even more cutting edge.
Because you're not giving them, the current videos are not giving really a choice.
There is no choice.
There's no choice.
Go watch a video. It doesn't ask you anything. It just
in
blabs.
fact, what it suggests is here's another video you could watch.
It just blabs.
Right.
So if you're going to drive a customer to a video, you should want to ask questions. Why? Because then you can collect data, and data is valuable.
Right.
So option A, drive to a video that just plays. Option B, drive to a video that asks questions and collects data gracefully and engages the customer. Which one? Obviously that one. Okay, same thing. What would you rather do? Drive a customer to a video that does not adapt. It says what it says no matter who you are, but this one will adapt to you based on your choices. So if you want to talk about bananas, it stops talking about strawberries. You know what I'm saying? So like it adapts. Why would you drive them?
How tech savvy?
Not tech savvy. You don't have to be tech savvy at all. It's a machine that makes it for you.
But how tech savvy do you need to be as a customer of yours to be able to implement this?
You don't have to be tech savvy at all.
No. You build tools that people can.
Dude, I'll sell you the services to make the stuff. You just tell me what impact you want to make. You want a sales team that freaking kicks more ass? Dude, assign this training 5 times, hold them accountable, sales go up. There's no question. But most people don't want to hold people accountable, or before couldn't because they don't have any way to really know. So they can't hold people accountable. They have to take people. Like, did you watch the video yesterday? And then you're like, yeah, I watched it. Did you get it?
Well, I have my whole company, the whole home office on. Not the whole company. That's a lie. A mistake. I have the whole home office on Cardone U.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of salespeople, and so that has changed things. It's changed things so much.
Did it help?
Yeah, we fired most. Yeah, for not being accountable. Yeah.
And by the way, now you have a way to replace them quickly, easily.
Oh yeah.
So if your curriculum, because the good content's the key too. So because again, if you train someone effectively to do it wrong, you'll do it wrong.
Sure.
So you got to make sure it's good content. Cardone has good basic blocking and tackling for sales. Like he tells you follow up.
Right.
And then gives you things to say. Well, if people just follow up with the shit he tells you to say, you're going to sell more than you do if you don't follow up. So at the end of the day, the basic blocking and tackling will increase your sales no matter what. But management has to decide and say, this is a part of working here. And I'm going to hold people accountable. I'm going to practice. Because if you go to Cardone's office, they're role playing every morning at 8:05.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, you don't work there. And guess what? Cardone has a team of assassins on the phone, and he can grow that team as big as he wants because I've seen him do it.
Yeah,
You know why though?
Why?
Because he has a LightSpeed training system, and he's already virtualized all of his modules, and he makes them just go through it over and over and over again.
Our head of sales left Cardone Canada recently, and she now heads up our global sales initiative. Young, 28 years old, and she is Cardone induced. Like she studies every day. She has the whole team on. And I think that when she came in, the team, she started getting hold of them accountable, and the team's like, we're out of here.
Yeah, no one likes that.
No, they didn't like it, which I was fine with. Get rid of them then.
Yes.
And some of them were friends, but unfortunately, we're a business, and we accepted the fact that we want to hold people accountable. We use it every day.
Somebody has to make the decision.
Right. So I saw a podcast with you and Jordan Belfort, and I saw one with Jordan Belfort and Grant, and I somewhat feel like I'm a reasonably intelligent guy, educated. I watched the Grant and Jordan Belfort one, and I watched then you talk to Jordan about that one. What did I miss that everyone thought Jordan did something to? I go, what am I missing here, right? Jordan was talking about door-to-door shit, and Grant was talking about something bigger. I was just curious what you thought I missed, because I don't get what the controversy was.
Well, the controversy was Grant couldn't answer the simplest questions about sales.
Did you think he just didn't want to answer them?
I personally know Grant, so I already know Grant knows the basics of sales.
I know him personally too, and I guarantee you he knows those things.
Well, of course he does, right. but
I don't know him like you know him.
Yeah, but the answer is Grant was not open to really communicating with Jordan.
Right.
Grant was going to be right no matter what, and so I think it made Grant sound from a certain viewpoint like he doesn't know what he's doing, and Jordan jumped on it by saying, "Yeah, look, this guy doesn't even know the basics." Well, Grant was talking about higher level shit, but at the end of the day, it made Grant look bad. So that was the controversy.
Do you think Grant? To me, Grant just didn't want to be there.
Well, it made Grant look bad. So again, like I watched it, the whole thing, and I'm like, "Oh, Grant, dude, he teed it up. Like he gave you the opportunity, you missed it. And why did you miss it?
Right.
Because again, Grant wanted to make sure that like there was we're not going to agree no matter what.
Right.
Even if it makes me look, stupid. So I think if you ask the average of 10 people who won that debate, Jordan did.
No, there's no question. I had these young entrepreneurs in my office one day, and they were telling me all about Jordan and their training with Jordan and stuff like that. And I said, "Wow, I've worked in Wall Street for 30 years, so Jordan, listen, he's a good sales guy, but there was some things."
Yeah, but again, if Grant walked in there knowing I'm going to answer these questions, Grant knows what the hell he's doing. Grant didn't get where he's at because he doesn't know how to sell shit.
Right.
I think he went in there and was thrown a little bit on Jordan because again, Jordan and Grant don't seem to get along for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I get along with both of them. Now,
Jordan on your platform?
Jordan's content is on my platform, yes.
So I guess I got to go back to this content deal. So you're telling me right now everyone that signs up and gives you content has a licensing deal with you to resell it? Is that what's going on?
Well, I put it in a skill shop.
Right.
Okay. Or if you're going to go sell it, you don't want to be in the skill shop that millions of people log into? Who wouldn't want to be in the skill shop?
And then how do you cut them in?
It's their content. If it gets sold, I just sold it for them. That's all.
Okay, got it. So there's not a subscription service that you have where I can come to LightSpeed and get everyone's content?
Oh, no.
No, okay,
no,
got it.
The skill shop is just the mall. Now, if you do want to buy it and get access to everything, I've got to own it or they've got to donate it, which I do have a little package like that, but that's beside the point.
No, so you're not, because like if you look at the Spotify model, right, they put content on Spotify.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's not like Netflix either.
Right.
It can't be.
Okay, well, let's debate on why it couldn't be, right? You know your platform better than me.
I mean, it could be, but
I work in algorithms and selling shit all the time, right? So I'm Lightspeed VT, and I want everyone's content on my platform. I'm going to charge a fee of $99 a month, and I'm going to track whose content gets used, and I'm going to take my 30% if I'm Lightspeed, and that 70% left I'm going to share based on hours viewed of content. Similar to Spotify. That couldn't happen on your platform?
That could.
Right.
Get them all to agree to that, though.
Right. But do you want them to not be on a platform that could be that big?
Well, I mean, it's going to be that big anyway, even if I'm not $99 flat.
You mean the individual is going to be that big? The individual person producing content is going to be that big?
No, I mean, like, for example, I don't have to use that business model for it to be big.
No, I'm not talking about Lightspeed being big.
I'm more like an iTunes model. Like iTunes don't give shit away for one flat fee. Well, music they do. Okay, that's a music subscription. You can't get everything in iTunes for free.
No, absolutely not. You cannot.
Okay,
Right.
so
But you
it's
can
like that.
subscribe.
Yeah,
and
it's
they
like
share
that.
it with the revenue.
Hey,
whatever.
look, we can create shareable packages. We can create specials. We can create combo packs. Like, dude, let's get to me, I just want to get it launched. Like, it's been in development and beta for the last 2 years.
Skill shop.
Yeah.
Right.
So like,
You're going to be like a mall of people they can sign up for.
dude, I'm going to have to just show you. But yeah,
And
the
you're
mall of people.
So it's very similar to iTunes in that they take 30% and you give 70% to the other people.
Yeah, but I don't take anything.
For Skill Shop, you take nothing.
I'm going to just give it to the author and the seller. So let's say it's your system. Your employee logs in, buys Grant Cardone on his own or her own.
Got it.
You get 20% because it's your system, your employee, your user, your friend, your fan. It doesn't matter. Your system sold Grant Cardone out of the Skill Shop. You'd get 20. Grant would get 80. Why? Grant's content.
Got it.
Now, I don't get any, even though I built it. Why?
Because he's put his stuff paying to be on your platform.
Well, that's right, because I have a license with Grant, and whatever he makes, I get a piece from my niece.
Right.
A sliver to deliver.
Right.
A fraction of the action. A tad because I'm Brad. Guess what? That's revenue, isn't it?
Sure.
I calculate that. So technically, would I get a piece? Yeah, down the road maybe. You too. I got to deal with you? Oh, well then I get a piece from my niece.
Got it.
A slice because I'm nice. Remember, you have zero expense other than, commission or marketing, because you didn't do anything, dude. Your employee went in and bought Grant Cardone. What'd you do?
Who out there is competing with you? I know there's Kajabi, but it doesn't have accountability.
Dude.
Who's out there competing with you?
A million, but I wouldn't tell you. First of all, Kajabi is not a training system. That's a hosting solution.
Right.
So if you want to sell a course, you can upload it to Kajabi, create a little page for sale, and hit go. But dude, listen, that's not training.
Right.
If you're not delivering good content with repetition, practice, and accountability, if you can't trigger emailed notifications and all these different things based on retention and understanding and comprehension, then you're not concerned if they're training. You're concerned if they gave you the $99. So if all you want is the $99, dude, LightSpeed's not for you. LightSpeed's for people that want to actually learn what the hell's in it.
One of my favorite things I saw you talk about was I think you were selling CD-ROM.
Originally.
Right?
Originally, yeah.
And I'm going to tell the story for you. I guess I probably shouldn't, but you basically had sold a bunch of them and someone wanted their money back.
Yeah.
Can you tell that story a little bit about you going you go into the dealership and what happened?
Well, first of all, in order to help sell them, I created a money-back guarantee.
Right.
Which means if these don't increase your lease penetration, I'll give your money back. I was selling them for $10,000 a pop. Per year, mind you. And it's car dealers, so they always negotiated. So sometimes I'd take 7 if they talked me down. But ultimately, I gave a money-back guarantee that if this didn't work, I'd give your money back. However, there was a disclaimer. Everyone had to actually learn what's happening. Now, this is with CD-ROMs. So I was selling CD-ROMs. It still wasn't LightSpeed. And somebody called for their money back, so I had to borrow money to fly down to California to basically inspect his sales team to see if they actually learn. Because he wanted his money back. And the only way I could get out of giving him his money was to prove that his people must not have learned. Because it's like if you know your ABCs, I'll know if you know your ABCs.
Sure.
Like, what are your ABCs? Like, if you don't know them, I know that you don't know them, and he knows that you don't know them.
Right.
So I went down there to basically say to the salespeople, all right, tell me that you know what you're doing. If they would have known what they were doing, I would have owed that gentleman, and my life might have changed and turned out very different. But they didn't know, and I knew they didn't know, because if you knew, it would work. So therefore, I put the guarantee knowing full well that most people will never...
They didn't play the DVDs or something, right?
Or something.
Right.
But I had to go down there to check on it. So as I flew back, because I didn't have money to get there, I didn't have money to give him back. Thankfully, I didn't do it. He made me wait 4 hours and ultimately toyed with me all day, only for about a 2-minute conversation to say, okay, you don't owe me, see you later. And I'm thinking, dude, I had to borrow money to get here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You made me wait 4 hours. Now I got to pay more to get back home because you made me miss my damn flight. And it took 2 seconds for you to say, okay, get out of here, like it was chump change. So on the way home, I'm thinking, man, this doesn't work. I got to be able to see what people are doing.
Right.
And that's when I thought, I got to take these DVDs online. Or these CD-ROMs. I got to make this web-based. I got to be able to see who's training and who's not training.
Accountability.
Yeah. So I built it for me originally. Because I wanted to see. And so then one time a couple of managers saw that I could see, and they're like, how do I see? And I'm like, you want to see? They're like, I'd love to see. And so I started building in these deep reporting metrics and accountabilities and gave you optics no other system has, not any of those. A lot of them are like, oh yeah, this does that. But Kajabi, dude, Kajabi's like it's not even a learning system.
Right,
it's just a hosting thing.
Hosting.
That's like a click funnel. That's like saying you use click funnels to train your people. Like, dude, a click funnel is not a training system. Okay, a Kajabi is not a training system.
Does Russell have anything on your platform yet?
No, I've tried to integrate with them a couple times, but they're too big and powerful now. They're huge. Don't you know? Don't you know?
Are they?
Dude, they're partners with Tony and Dean, and gee, Russell's gone. He's in the billionaire status. I'm just little old BL. Nobody's listening to me apparently. No, I didn't get to close that deal yet, but I'll set with them one of these days. And if I don't, who cares?
Right.
You know what? I don't need everybody. At the end of the day, all I want to do is get it to a certain point where the revenues are ridiculous and either sell it to someone who can continue to make the impact or turn it over to some management team and cheer them on.
So we're going to build our new platform on your system. Obviously, we're here to learn more about it. We pretty much know what we're doing, but there's some other tools.
Yeah.
I'm going to digress and talk to you about Alzheimer's.
I might have that or development of it. Who knows?
Well, we have a test right now with a company in Newport Beach, California that just NIH certified. You can take audibly, and it can tell you whether you're going to develop Alzheimer's or not.
Really?
It's amazing. All audible. And next year, it's going to be available on Amazon Echo.
Well, I want that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll think to myself, what was I just thinking? And I'm thinking, dude, is this?
Yeah, that's not Alzheimer's, but okay.
But I don't know what the hell Alzheimer's is, really, other than, you hear Alzheimer's, it strikes more older folks,
right,
and it causes them to forget.
Sure.
But I don't know the serious ramifications of it. So, again, very interested in talking more about that. But sometimes I think, am I getting it?
Right. Well, as you get older, the brain, like anything, is going to atrophy over time. The question is whether you have your A beta amyloid and the taus and tangles in your brain, whether the neurosynapses are striking fast enough and whether you recall. But naturally through age, that happens anyways. There's a difference between you getting plaques in the brain and the tau in your brain kind of exploding and it's slowing it down so much that it starts affecting your central nervous system, your ability, you get aggravated. It's a very serious thing. My father has it right now.
I would bet.
And there's ways, listen, I'm going to be clear to the camera, I'm not telling you this is a cure, but there are ways that I've learned through the University of South Florida and the professionals. We have a who's who of Alzheimer's on our board or advisory board. There are ways like taking melatonin at night, drinking hot black coffee, specifically dark roast from Starbucks, that can help you with...
Why from Starbucks?
Starbucks, but believe it or not, Dr. Chow at the University of South Florida has studied the fact that Starbucks dark roast, if it's hot enough, contains certain chemicals in there that can help the brain. I'm not a scientist. I'm a financier, but I've decided I'm gonna focus the rest of my life on figuring out a treatment or a cure or something for Alzheimer's, right? Neurodegenerative space. So I founded a company called Alt-Life Sciences, which owns a business called Alzheimer Neuro, which we hope goes public later this year, which has a drug, AL001, which is a lithium-based compound, and then it has another vaccine, Chow22W, which we hope will be a vaccine for Alzheimer's. It's a mutant peptide, and then we have a lithium-based compound, co-crystal, for delivery to slow or stop, hopefully, the progression of Alzheimer's. Both those drugs are licensed with the University of South Florida. We have other treatments we're working on. I'm focusing my energy on raising $100 million around that space, and this year, we've already put in $8.2 million we've raised for Alzheimer Neuro. We're going to raise another $4 million and get both those drugs in patients. We're pretty confident we can get that done. They'll be treating patients at Emory University, and one of them we hope will be fast-tracked and be one of the first treatments in a long time. In 100 years, there's effectively been no progress for Alzheimer's. But I know my staff wants to have me sign a glove for you. We would like you to sign a glove. You're the very first person we've done this with. We're launching a Knockout ALZ campaign.
Dude, that's awesome.
And we went and bought these gloves for you with the local fight shop right here. I want to give a shout out to my friend Antonio White, the pitch freak, who made that possible. Can you bring me those pens real quick? And what we're going to do at the office here and when we film others is to identify everyone we gave a glove to and do a fairly big campaign around it. In fact, it's the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. There's 6 million people that have it in the U.S. now.
How many?
6 million in the U.S. And what's terrible about it is it's one of the most feared diseases in the world.
Why?
And
Why?
I think because people fear the idea that they will forget and what happens to them if you when you get it and as it progresses, it becomes very scary for people to have it.
I think my wife's grandmother has it right now.
A lot of people are affected by it. You think about
she cries sometimes because she doesn't remember where she is and who people are, and it frustrates her.
Mm-hmm.
So she just cries.
The caregivers really are affected too. The families are affected. When I was young, when I was like 20 years old and my grandmother got it, my grandmother was fearful of me. She said, "Who's that guy? Don't let him around me." But that was my grandma, and she didn't want to be around me. So it was a terrible, I mean, she had it. It was much worse for her. But my father now, I could show you a video of my father just last weekend, who thought I was stuck in the mirror. He was looking at the mirror, thought I was stuck in the mirror, wouldn't leave the bathroom, tried to get underneath the bathroom and take all the stuff out to help me escape underneath the mirror, not knowing it was a mirror. It was like the most, I had to laugh at it to make sure I wasn't sad about it. Because if you think about it, it's really terrible.
Yeah.
It was really terrible. But I'm super grateful that you let us come to LightSpeed today. I'm overly impressed about the fact that I know a lot about your story. You started really, other than the car business, you started with not a lot of money. You built up a cloud platform that's wonderful. I know we use it all the time with Grant. We're excited to come and be part of it. And then, of course, the Wall Street guy in me thinks, well, how are we going to give you an exit? But that's a different conversation for another day.
Yeah, well, I need to increase the revenues.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I want $1 billion exit, or I'm not exiting.
Well, then, I guess we're not going to be exiting anytime soon. But anyway,
no, we'll be exiting real soon.
Yeah. Well,
you're going to help me get there.
Maybe,
for
absolutely.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure, man.
All right, well, fist bump or no?
Yeah, fist bump.
Wuhan thing, Corona thing.
Hey, I'll drink a Corona, but I'm not going to get it.
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
In the glove.
That's mine.
Oh, that's mine.
Yeah.
I'm a cool.
Awesome.
I get the first one.
Yeah. Thank you, Brad.
It is awesome. My pleasure. Appreciate you guys. That's awesome.
There's a reason for it.